Welcome to the Daily Boogie.
Obviously, Bannon is the big talk, and there's so many ways we can come at it, so many angles we can come at it, and some of them I don't think people have thought of. And you know, we'll journey through. We'll see how we go. This is the first one. Now, this is the big one. This was Washington Times this morning. Matt Drudge exposes Bannon's new benefactor. So I haven't seen this clip yet. But
does Steve Bannon have a new boo? Following his recent quarrel with President Donald Trump, in which the former chief strategist bitterly slandered the president and his son, Don Trump Jr., following his termination from the White House, Bannon suffered a massive financial hit to his website, Breitbart News. Billionaire backer Rebecca Mercer has withdrawn her considerable financial support of the website, presumably prompting Bannon's meeting with new billionaire benefactor Miles Kwok, according to Matt Drudge. A person close to Mercer told the Washington Post that she no longer supports Bannon after he mentioned that he might run for president in 2020. Mercer is also...
Couldn't agree more. Like, it's funny you say that, because last week, it's the same thing with Jeff Sessions. Now, remember when Jeff Sessions was going through the confirmation hearings? So 1 minute he's a white nationalist, he's the most evil guy on the face of the earth. But then as soon as the president came out and said, you know what, I'm not really happy with Jeff, he could do a lot better, I didn't pick him to recuse himself, kind of thing. Very vanilla statement. And then the entire media whipped up again and made out like he was the greatest attorney general that's ever walked God's green earth. Like that. They just turned on a dime. Literally, 1 week he's KKK, evil, racist. Next week, well, he's a great bloke. And if Donald Trump sacks him, it's the end of democracy as we know it. You know, you can't keep up. I'm pissed off. This fucking internet. This might be entertaining.
Frustrated with Bannon's strategy in the Alabama Senate special election, in which he vigorously backed Roy Moore over Republican hopefuls Mo Brooks and Luther Strange. Rumors of a possible Bannon run in 2020 are reportedly detailed in Michael Wolff's new book, Fire and Fury, Inside the Trump White House. The book has caused chaos.
Not again. Not again. Okay, I think we've seen enough of that one. Anyway. So, this financial backer is a Chinese intelligence personality. Okay, who's apparently out here, and the Chinese government asked for him to be extradited. Now, the first thing I thought of when I heard this, like, one is, I don't know if this is confirmed, is this the new backer or not, right? Is this the new backer for Breitbart? And two, like, will Bannon remain at Breitbart for much longer? Because the whisper is he's not going to. But, see, straight off the bat, before we go any further, because there's so much to this, my first inclination, well, the first thought I had when I heard this was, it's just weird. Meaning, Bannon had every opportunity to slam the POTUS when he left the White House. Right? You remember? Like he said, oh, I've got my toys back now. I can go back and I'm going to defend the president. And he was all vitriol and hate and guns blazing for the establishment, the Mitch McConnells, the Paul Ryans. He did a whole 60-minute interview. He sat down one-on-one. He explained, no, I love the president. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. But it's all the other Republicans that are the problem. And then he went on his nationwide tour with Gawker, drumming up like the sort of, you know, that element of the Trump support base. Okay. He had ample opportunities to attack the president, but he didn't. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the comments that are in this book were from 2016. Is that right? And, you know, there is a potential here for these comments to be taken out of context somewhat. And I only say that because there's always that potential, number one. But number two, the author of this book, Michael Wolff, apparently has a bit of a history with this kind of thing. Okay? Like, you know, making up... People have accused him of making up quotes and stuff. I don't know. That's just what people are saying. I don't know if there's any validity to it. I'd be happy to be told otherwise. And I'm not saying he made up these quotes, but what I'm saying is it's just strange that if Bannon felt this way for this, like genuinely felt this way, that he wouldn't have attacked when he left the White House, when apparently it all came to a head. Now, the other side of this is the Trump response. Now, you guys would have read that statement that Trump put out, and it was brutal. I mean, savage. That's, you know, leaking things to the media is all he's good at. Backstabbing. He was just, you know, Ted Dabrowski and myself were speaking about this off air. And we both particularly like the line, he was a staffer. Because that's just, that probably cuts to the core. Because you go from chief strategist to staffer. But basically what it did, that statement, it was clinical in a way because it attacked every single one of Steve Bannon's, you know, strong points, perceived strong points in the public. So his dealings with the media, like he's a professional media hitman, and he's a bloody good one too. It attacked his integrity, it attacked his principles, and it attacked his position in the White House when he was there. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, bang. So it was like an instant. It was an attempt at an instant credibility removal, like ripping a tablecloth out from underneath all the cutlery and having the cutlery remain. So my thinking was, what other option does Trump have in this place? And I couldn't come up with one, because when these statements come to pass and when these statements are out there, I think the only move Trump can make is that swift and brutal separation, because if he doesn't, they will just go to Steve Bannon every time and just keep rehashing the comments every time for the next 6 months right into the midterms. So they will just keep bringing it up and drudging it up. They will just keep asking Trump to respond to the comments. They will keep asking Steve Bannon what he thinks about Trump this week. So I think if Trump comes out and says, I don't know why Steve said that, you know, I like the guy, I thought he was okay, but it just didn't work out, something like that, then Bannon's credibility is higher, because then they can turn to Steve Bannon for every time to get like Trump commentary. But by sort of ripping the Band-Aid off, like slitting the throat, bang, like that, done, quick kill, it delegitimizes Bannon when it comes to future narrative, if that makes sense. I'm hoping to get Tom Chatelet on at some point. I know he's busy at the moment. He's doing a live stream. But if we can get him on later on to like mull over a bit of that, I think it would be fantastic. Because he's a guy who really understands that sort of thing. So, you know, fingers crossed we can get Tom on a bit later on. And just, you know, attack a couple of those angles. But, if, you know, fundamentally, I don't see any other option for Trump. And if you disagree, let me know. Please throw your comments and insults. But yeah, this Chinese backer I thought was interesting. Okay, because as we know, Steve Bannon has been like really, really hard on China for as long as he's been in the public eye. Well, first of all, let's go to We'll go to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, her response. I mean, these journalists, these idiot journalists in these press briefings, I don't know how they get these jobs. They come up with the dumbest questions, but we'll flick to it. Sarah's just been asked, does the president feel betrayed at all by Steve Bannon since, he hired him? And Sarah's explaining, I think, the president's statement is pretty clear. And this is the look on her face, like, you absolute dropkick. Like, what kind of a stupid question is that? Trump really couldn't explain more in that statement than what he did. I mean, he went after everything. It was lock stock. He went both barrels. He emptied the clip on Bannon. And they're like, does the president feel betrayed? I mean, what a fucking stupid comment. Where do they find these people? I don't know. How do they get these jobs?
Does he feel betrayed by Steve Bannon?
Does he feel betrayed?
I think the president's statement is extremely clear what his position on Mr. Bannon is. It was pretty lengthy and pretty detailed, and there's not really much to clarify or to add.
It's been reported.
She's a gun. She's really gotten a lot better too, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. At first, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if she'd cut the mustard, but every time she just gets better and better and better, and she just doesn't take shit. It's fantastic. Carry on. Couple more dumb questions from the press.
Furious when these reports first came out about what Bannon was quoted as saying. Is that an accurate depiction?
I think furious, disgusted would probably certainly fit when you make such outrageous claims and completely false claims against the president, his administration, and his family.
When was the last time the president talked to Steve Bannon?
Yeah, see, that's what I was talking about, Tamara. Today, press was only asking about Bannon, right? And that's kind of my point, like, because now with that statement, that really hard statement that Trump put out there, he really cuts it off at the knees. Because if he goes the softly approach and says, well, I really like Steve, we got on really well, I don't understand why these comments occurred. If he plays it off the cuff like that, then they can just drill and explore. What do you mean you don't understand? What about this particular comment? What about that particular comment? What about when you were in that room and Bannon came in and he said this and he said that, and all of that crap? It would just roll on and on and on and on and on and on and on. When Trump comes out and completely delegitimizes Bannon and really attacks him on all fronts, on all the fronts that he's got credibility on, and removes that credibility, like bang, like that, like in one fell swoop, then there's going to be a day or two of people asking how Trump feels. And all Huckabee Sanders has to do is say, look at the statement. He explained. Look at the statement. And what can they can't come back from that. They can't say, yes, well, he did say in a statement, he left a window open and, he wants Bannon and blah, blah, blah. There's none of that. It's just really strict and hard and clinical. So every time they ask, all Sarah Huckabee Sanders has to do and all the surrogates have to do is say, check the statement, bro. Done. Finished. Finito. Cajun Lady, thanks for joining us. Ernie Banks, welcome back. I hope we're rolling now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling loose. I'm feeling lucid. Denise, it's a pleasure to have you. We're going to get into this. We're going to roll. There's so many angles. And not all of them make sense. But that makes sense to me. Why that Trump statement happened in that fashion. To kill it. And the press really have no attack options now because Trump removed them all. That's just the way I see it.